The first time I tried to reconstitute Retatrutide, it was a huge fail. Today we're going to be talking about 5 mistakes I made so you don't have to. Now, if you've been watching my videos over the last few months, I've been transparent about my peptide use, and specifically Retatrutide. The food noise results, the resting heart rate and HRV concerns, and everything else. But what I haven't talked about yet is the catalog of mistakes I made along the way. Some of these are protocol related, some of them are related to reconstituting. We're going to cover it all. So let's get into it. The first was trying to continue intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is something I've been doing in some capacity for many years. And let me tell you, it is an effective tool for the right person. Especially if you're insulin resistant, if you're trying to balance your blood sugar, if you have excess weight, a 12, 14, 16-hour fasting window every day can be beneficial. So I figured that when I started Retatrutide, I would just continue it. But here's why you might not want to fast on Reta. Retatrutide activates glucagon receptors, which means your body is already in a fat-burning, ketone-producing state without the fasting. The metabolic environment that intermittent fasting is trying to create is already happening. Stacking aggressive fasting on top of that isn't doubling the benefits, and it can be making it significantly harder to hit your protein target. And on Retatrutide, protein targets are the most important thing. Way more important than a fasting window. When your appetite is suppressed and you're also restricting your eating window, hitting adequate protein becomes nearly impossible. And inadequate protein on a GLP-1 weight loss peptide means muscle loss, which kind of defeats the purpose. And especially for myself, because I'm not using Retatrutide for weight loss. I'm actively trying to build muscle. And to build muscle, you need to be eating enough protein. So drop the aggressive fasting. Let Reta take control. Make sure you're eating enough and make sure you're eating enough protein. Otherwise, yes, you might be losing weight, but a large portion of that is going to be muscle. And that's going to make it harder to maintain your results long term. And it's also going to come with some negative side effects, especially as you age. Mistake number 2 was eating too late. This one's a little bit less obvious and not something that a lot of people realize. Retatrutide slows gastric emptying. Food moves through your digestive system more slowly than normal. This is part of what creates that satiety effect. This isn't a bad thing, but this means if you eat your last meal too close to bed, you're gonna feel it. And even if you don't, it's gonna negatively impact your sleep, and in turn, your recovery. So basically, it's gonna slow down your results. Now, I talk a lot on my channel about eating dinner at least 3 to 4 hours before bed, but on Retatrutide, there might need to be 1 or 2 hours more. This allows you to fully digest your meal before your head hits the pillow. Now, this is a lifestyle adjustment that might take some getting used to, especially if you live with other people and you're used to a set meal time. But it's just something to keep in mind. Eat your dinner a little bit earlier. You're gonna sleep better, you're gonna recover better, and you're gonna get better results. Mistake number 3 is not eating enough protein. I talk about protein constantly. I know my target. I know why it matters so much on GLP-1 peptides, but it is something that I struggled to hit those first few weeks. I had heard about how Reta quiets your food noise, about how you're not constantly thinking about food. And as someone who has struggled with this for as long as I can remember, experiencing this benefit was mind-blowing. I didn't realize how much of an impact this would actually make. Now, I spoke about this in my initial video where I was talking about my experience so far on Reta, the pros and the cons. I still get hungry. I still want to eat. I still enjoy food, but I just get full faster. And the hunger is a bit more quiet. So there's definitely times where I could skip a meal, but I need to remind myself that's not what I want to do. I need to be getting my protein in. And to be honest, I've been relying on protein shakes a little bit more than I usually do. I usually only have a protein shake after I do a strength training workout, so that's 3 times a week. But since being on Reta, I've been having one every single day. A scoop of Equip and a scoop of Sparkle Wellness's Muscle Boost. That gets me about 45 grams of protein, giving me a head start on the day and making sure I hit my goal. Mistake number 4 was not staying hydrated. And this was one that shocked me because I drink a lot of water, I drink for my needs, I supplement electrolytes, and still I was thirsty. I spoke about this in my previous video as well, but one of the side effects I experienced was a dry mouth. What I didn't fully appreciate at the start was that the dry mouth was a signal. My body was telling me that I needed more. And there's actually a mechanism behind it. Retatrutide activates glucagon receptors, as we've said, which shifts your body towards fat burning and increases electrolyte excretion through the kidneys. You're losing sodium, potassium, and magnesium faster than normal. And if you're not replenishing those electrolytes specifically, not just drinking plain water, the symptoms are gonna show. Fatigue, brain fog, headaches, muscle cramps. A lot of people will attribute these side effects to the peptide itself, when really they're from dehydration and being low in electrolytes specifically. And drinking plain water on top of already low electrolytes can actually make things worse. There's a specific balance of water to electrolytes that your body wants to maintain. If your electrolyte concentration is diluted, then you're gonna pee more. Your body is gonna excrete more liquid. So having to pee every hour isn't a sign that you're hydrated. It can actually be the opposite. And this is why I use Sodi, because it's genuinely relevant to anyone on a GLP-1. I use it daily, and it's the one I'd specifically recommend for anyone on Reta or any GLP-1 peptide. It contains sodium, potassium, and magnesium, the 3 electrolytes that matter most. With no added sugar, no nasties, no artificial ingredients, just the electrolytes your body needs. They're Australian, but they do ship worldwide. I'll put the link in the description box down below, and you can use code HCK15 to save 15% off your first order. And mistake number 5, this was the big one, not reconstituting correctly. Now, if you're just starting to look into peptides, Retatrutide, maybe GHKCU, you might not be familiar with what reconstituting is. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's the process of mixing bariostatic water with the peptide powder to prepare it for injection. It sounds straightforward, and mostly it is, but if you've never done anything like this before, it can be a bit intimidating. Because when you order peptides, they come in powder form. You have to re-add water to them in order to be able to use them. But not just any water, it needs to be bariostatic water. When you do this, you need to be really precise with your measurements. Too much backwater and you're diluting the concentration, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it just might throw off your calculation when you're figuring out how much to dose. So for example, if you order 10 milligrams of Retatrutide, you're gonna add 100 milliliters of backwater. Then for every 10 units you draw, you're gonna be getting a 1 milligram dose. Okay, I tried to simplify that, but I know it does sound confusing. I've been thinking about making a specific video on how to reconstitute because it is confusing, especially if you've never done it before. But honestly, once you understand it, it's not that complicated. So let me know if that's something you would like me to do, and maybe I can post a video on it. The first time I did it, I wasn't precise. I ended up putting too much pressure in the vial, then it was hard to draw, I wasn't able to get the right amount, and like I said, you need to be precise with this. So just something to note and something to be careful of. So those are the 5 mistakes I made, so you don't have to. Intermittent fasting on Retatrutide is unnecessary and counterproductive for protein targets. Eating too late makes the slow gastric emptying work against you. Protein has to be deliberate, even when you're not hungry. Hydration is more important than you think, and electrolytes matter more than plain water. And reconstitution requires precision and the right technique, or you're wasting product and flying blind on dose. None of these are complicated in hindsight, but they're things that would have been helpful to know from the start, which is exactly why I'm telling you now. Now, if you're just getting started, definitely check out my full protocol video for if you're on Retatrutide or a GLP-1. I'll link that on the screen now. And make sure to check out Sodi, because if you're hydrated properly, you're not going to experience a lot of the side effects you hear about. That will be linked on the screen now and also down below. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.